Hi, how are you? It's a big day in our treehouse today. Can you tell we're celebrating Halloween? There's pumpkins here, and pumpkins there, and pumpkins everywhere. Oh, and it's so much fun to be in a costume. I'm a leopard today, and I have spots all the way from my head, all the way to my toe. And look at my ears. They're little, and I've got a great big long tail. And I didn't even bring my book bag today. I brought my trick-or-treat sack. Come over here to the Nature Center. You could make a jack-o'-lantern just like this. A circle would make the hat. You could have triangle eyes, a circle nose, and a happy smile. Did you get to read our sign? It says Halloween. Read it with me. Ready? Halloween. Be on the lookout. Be on the lookout for black cats. You may see 13 of them. And watch out for the ghosts. Ooh, they're scary. And watch out for the red devil. He can be mean. And I'd like you to meet Old Witch. I know that you will really like her. She just loves Halloween. She can dance a jig, fly on a broomstick, and even cackle. In our fanciful story today, she rescues Halloween. That means she saves it. This is Mr. Butterbean, and you won't like him very well at first. He doesn't like noise. He doesn't like tricks or treats. He chases children. He just doesn't like Halloween. Mr. Butterbean lives in the town of Oldwick. I know you're excited to hear our fanciful story. You look ready. Are you sitting tall? Let's begin. The title of our story is Old Witch Rescues Halloween. Listen. Only one more night until Halloween. One night. Old Witch's eyes glowed brighter. Every once in a while, she hopped about in a stiff little witch's jig.
Point your toe, skip and prance. It's Halloween and time to dance. Point your toe, skip and prance. It's Halloween and time to dance.
But now she stopped. Downstairs, she heard a door bang. It was Nicky. She knew it was Nicky. Ever since the night that he and his mother had found her fast asleep in the chimney of the lonely old house, Nicky had been her friend. And she knew by the way the door slammed that something was wrong.
Old Witch! Old Witch!
Nicky called. Old Witch heard the alarm in Nicky's voice. Down the stairs she clattered to join the breathless boy and his mother.
It's Mr. Butterbean. Mr. Butterbean chased me. He chased me with a stick. He smashed my pumpkin. Mr. Butterbean said there won't be any Halloween in Oldwick tomorrow night.
Nicky's mother, Nicky and Old Witch stared at one another. They couldn't believe their ears. They knew Mr. Butterbean was mean. They knew he chased children. And they also knew that people usually did what he told them to do because he owned most of the town of Oldwick. Old Witch went at once to her bedroom. From under her bed, she found some strange red powder, some hair, and she took 3 dried seeds. Cackling wickedly, she tucked them away in her cape and sang a little song.
Snake sneeze, toads, and ratcha-fratch. Old Butterbean has met his match.
In Oldwick, Mr. Butterbean let everyone know what he planned to do at Town Hall that night. The bad news spread fast, and all day the people of Oldwick worried that Mr. Butterbean would do just what he said he would do. They worried that there wouldn't be a Halloween. At dusk, as it was growing dark, all the parents and their children began to go to the town hall. Now Old Witch had another idea. She went to Mr. Butterbean's big home where Mr. Butterbean lived. But in front of the house, a crow called an alarm and Old Witch stopped. Before she knew what had happened, someone threw a blanket over her head and carried her into Mr. Butterbean's house and up the stairs to a room high in the tower. When she looked out of the window, she saw Mr. Butterbean drive off to the meeting at Town Hall.
Snake's knees,
She rasped.
my broom, I'll fly down.
Where was her broom? It must be back on the path where she was captured. For a moment, it seemed that all was lost, but only for a moment. Old Witch leaned out of the window and called the crow to fetch her broom. In a moment, the crow came back with the broom in his beak.
Beautiful bird.
She squawked. And now, perched on her broom, Old Witch soared out of the window towards the town hall. In the center of town, the meeting had begun. Mr. Butterbean was shaking his cane at the crowd. Down with Halloween! Down with noisy children! Down with trick-or-treats! There will be no Halloween in Oldwick this year. At that moment, there was a whir, a swish, and an angry squawk at the opened window. It was Old Witch. Mr. Butterbean could hardly believe his eyes. How could she have escaped from the tower? All at once, he grabbed a pitcher of water and dumped it on her head. "Troublemaker!" he shouted. For a moment, Old Witch just dripped. And then, with water squishing in her shoes, she broke into a furious jig. Her eyes glittered and she hissed.
Spiders, snake knees, and witch's grog. Butterbean is a bright green frog. Spiders, snake's knees, and witch's grog. Butterbean is a bright green frog.
Old Witch reached into her cape and threw the powder into the air. Mr. Butterbean was a very small frog.
All right.
She squawked.
All those in favor of a spooky, scary Halloween, say snake's knees.
Snake's knees!
All those in favor of cider and donuts, say ratcha-fratch.
Ratcha-fratch!
Then Old Witch bent down and seemed to mumble something to her feet. There was a flash, a puff of smoke, and there stood Mr. Butterbean again. With a scared look at Old Witch, Mr. Butterbean said, "Hooray for Halloween!" Halloween was a clear, frosty blue night, and the moon rose full in orange. Children dressed in costumes scared one another and gathered treats until her bag was overflowing. Even at Mr. Butterbean's house, there were plates of sugar donuts, sweet apple cider, and pumpkin pies. Old Witch stopped for a moment to test the cider. She might have stayed longer if some children visiting from out of town hadn't pulled on her nose.
"Take off your mask,"
they said.
"Let's see your real face." "Ratcha-fratch!"
She squawked loudly and stamped out of the house. The wind was in the trees, and a black cat yowled.
"My night! Halloween!"
she cackled. And then, as though the sounds of night called, she rose into the dark blue skies. Halloween is everybody's night. It's my night, it's your night, and it's Old Witch's night. But I know someone right now who is just waiting for Halloween. He's a little ghost, and he just sits and waits. And when Halloween comes, he runs from house to house to say, boo. Ghosts are little, but they can also be big. Do you know what this is? Look. A haunted house? Oh, a haunted house can look so spooky. Some say keep out. Let's look what's inside. It's a big sign, and it says, Happy Halloween. We had a good time today, and I'll see you again in our treehouse next time. Goodbye.